Hello and welcome. In this video I will be talking about how to make a contingency plan for those who have a caring role. So what's a contingency plan? Another way of describing a contingency plan is that it's a plan that aims to cover the essential needs of the looked after person in the event of an emergency where the unpaid carer is not able to provide that support in the short term. An example of an emergency situation might be you, the carer, for example, have been suddenly taken ill, that you've been involved in an accident, or that you're simply stuck in traffic between homes. Some carers have multiple caring roles and they may have been delayed at one home and not able to get to the other. Having some kind of plan in place to deal with those unexpected or emergency events is an important aspect of supporting the caring role. It can help to reduce some of the pressures and stresses that a carer might feel in an emergency situation. A plan can help a carer feel more in control, and importantly, it can reduce the risk of an emergency becoming a crisis. Being a carer can be challenging in terms of time, resources, and managing relationships. All these challenges to the carer can act to delay making an essential emergency plan. Carers are often tied up with daily routines, just getting through the day and what needs to be done for the person they look after. Having time to sit and think about a plan or have a discussion about plans with others might feel impossible at times or too emotionally difficult. Some carers may have an idea of what needs to be done in the event of an emergency. They may well have planned something out in their minds or have put a contact number in a notebook ready for that just-in-case event. The problem with everything being up here is that no one else knows about it. Where a carer has a notebook, do others know where it's kept and the intended purpose of that information? To help understand the usefulness of a written plan, we can ask ourselves, in the event of an emergency, how likely is it that we will be able to remember the people we need to contact, the telephone numbers, and what we need them to do? For example, if I've been involved in a car accident, my mind will be focused on contacting my insurance company, perhaps a rescue or emergency service too, and keeping my phone line free. How might this look different with a backup plan? I can make one call to my emergency contact and say, I've been caught in an accident, please can you action my emergency plan? For others, it may be a case of handing over a carer's ID card to the emergency services and they calling one of the emergency contacts you have on your card, who will then be able to action your plan. So having a plan thought out, discussed and written down allows the carer to share that plan with others. It lets others know what needs to happen to keep the cared for person safe and well. This next section will look at who to talk to when making an emergency plan. Begin to think about all the people and all the organisations involved with you and the person you look after. We can refer to these as our networks and resources. Networks and resources will look different for every caring role, and that's simply because we all have different family, healthcare and social setups. These networks might include a next of kin, and don't forget a carer might not always be the next of kin. A plan could also include other relatives, close friends or a trusted neighbour, a religious or cultural community contact, a care agency, a GP, a person who has power of attorney, or an appointed deputy. Information about the cared for person is also a big part of the contingency plan, stating their condition and how it affects them, outlining their daily routine, for example, what time they wake up and go to bed, meal times, what time care agencies call, or what practical support they need, for example, getting dressed, walking short distances, or help going to the bathroom, making meals and drinks. A list of their current medication would be included and when these are taken, what clothes they like to wear and how warm they like to keep, the types of clothing they prefer for different weather. It's also useful to explain how the looked after person occupies their day. That might include what foods, drinks or snacks they like. Do they enjoy reading, gardening, crafts, or watching TV, or listening to the radio or to music? Do they enjoy puzzles or quizzes? Or simply enjoy having a chat with another person? The type of information you pull together will help those who will be providing the interim care to give the best support they can. Remember, the person you look after may feel anxious or confused when someone else is with them and not you. Providing this kind of information will help the standing carer make the person you look after feel as comfortable as possible and with the minimum of disruption to their usual routine and habits. If the looked after person has a pet, then how that pet is to be cared for should also be included in your plan. You can download a list of these prompts for the useful information to add to your contingency plan by clicking on the link provided. Here I will discuss some points to consider when thinking about who to approach to act as an emergency contact. Before doing this, it's important to remember that no one person can do all the things that you do as a carer for the person you look after. A better way of framing this expectation is to think about 2 or more people who can between them pick up different tasks. So, some questions to ask when considering the person you want to invite to be an emergency contact. Are they known to the person you look after, and are they comfortable with them? Can they be available at short notice? Are they able to answer a phone quickly? Do they have access to their own transport, or do they live close by? Are they able to keep calm in a stressful situation? Can they sit with a cared for person for an hour or several hours until someone else is available to take over? Are they able to make alternative arrangements, for example, with a care agency or a care home or with another relative? Because a future plan will involve others, whether that's family, close friends, an attorney or a care agency, it is necessary to discuss your plan with them as well as with the person you look after. The looked after person is central to any plan, and therefore it's important for them to be included in your planning and in the discussions you have with those in your network. Wherever possible, a carer will need the permission of the person they look after in order to be able to share their information with emergency contacts. Certainly, an open and frank discussion with the person you look after can help make plans more effective through their cooperation. Having this discussion might feel difficult at the outset, but having it can help strengthen relationships, and your careful may develop a better understanding of what you do as a carer. When a careful person feels listened to and involved, that may help them to feel happier and more confident. Talking with your wider family, close friends, and with the social or community networks you're involved with can help you to fill in any gaps in your plan, and perhaps even identify resources that you would have not thought about on your own. Importantly, talking openly will help you identify who you can rely on in the event of an unexpected or emergency situation, and what they can do for you, rather than leaving that to chance. It's important to remember that no one person can do all the things that you do as a carer, but having 2 or 3 people on your plan to do smaller chunks, which can together make the difference between managing the situation and a crisis. A note about sharing personal information. Depending on how close the relationship is with you and the cared for person, you might edit what information you share with others. As a carer, you may have a carer's ID card. At the Carers Trust Solihull, the carer's ID card acts as a prompt for future and emergency planning. If you have your card, take it out and look at it. Is it still valid? If not, request a new one. Look at the back of the card and you will see spaces for 3 emergency contacts. Have these been completed? Do you carry your card with you when you're out and about? How useful do you think a carer's ID card with emergency contacts could be in the event of an emergency? A starting place for thinking about having a backup plan is your carer's card. Keep your card up to date, and if you have emergency contacts, check in with them every time you renew your card to make sure they are still available to act as an emergency contact, and if what they can do is still the same. So the important message is, think it through, discuss with those involved, write it down, and share with your emergency contacts. And while it's reasonable to say that we can't plan for every event, even a basic plan can make a difference.